call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Trish.
Mrs. Brew? Miss Langless?
Here.
Mr. Meneghini?
Here.
Mr. Marraro?
Here.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Here.
Do I have a motion to excuse Mayor Brew?
I'll make a motion to excuse Mayor Brew from tonight's
Support.
proceedings.
Support.
Miss Langless?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
Okay, before we approve the agenda, we are going to make one change since the mayor's missing. We are going to remove the closed session for city manager review tonight, and we'll put that on for next time, Mr. Stoltman. Do I have a motion?
That's my favorite part. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to remove the closed session about the city manager review.
Support.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
Miss Langless?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve minutes of the special meeting of December, or I'm sorry, going back to approve the amended agenda for tonight? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
Was that Marraro?
Yeah. No, I support it.
Ricky.
Okay. Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
Miss Langless?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Approval of minutes special meeting of December 11th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to support that.
No, I need a motion to put it out for vote, please.
To put it up for vote for the December 11th,
Yep,
for the special meeting? That's just approving what already happened, correct?
correct.
Approving the minutes.
Okay, so approving the minutes for that meeting, I'll make a motion.
Support.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
Miss Langless?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes. Approval of minutes, regular meeting, December 17th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of December 17th, 2025.
Can you support that I wasn't here?
Support.
Miss Langless?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
Okay. Approval manifest 2026-01 in the amount of $322,048.66. Do we have any questions? Sarah?
I did not.
Ricky?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Mr. Meneghini?
No questions.
Nor do I. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve manifest 2026-01 in the amount of $322,048.66.
Support.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes.
Miss Langless?
Yes.
Public comment, any item of interest. Anyone in attendance wishing to address the council on any item of interest shall do so at the podium now. State your name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. We have none. Public comment, agenda items. Once again, anyone in attendance wishing to address the council on agenda items only shall do so at the podium. State your name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes. Yep, come on up.
I'm Jim Cazzola, resident 410 Mine Street, Norway.
Welcome, Jim.
Thank you. I understand that it was put out to us whether we as residents would be willing to pay the extra fee for the recycling, and you did not get 90% of support on that. And I was wondering if we do go ahead with this, when would we build on this, and how much is it going to be?
Right.
Whatever information do you...
Yep, and we're definitely going to discuss a lot of that tonight, later on. Again, it's not that anybody's ignoring the public's wishes. It's just that this is a mandated thing from the state, so we're just going to make sure we got our I's dotted and T's crossed before we make any decision on this thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, Jim. Thanks for coming. Anyone else? Okay, moving on. Actionable items. Item 1. Extension of real and personal property tax payment deadline, Mr. Stoltman.
We do this every year. It's extending the due date for property taxes to February 18th, Christina, is that, or is it March 3rd? I'm sorry.
March 2nd.
March 2nd. So we've done that each year. We extend the winter property tax until that time.
Yes, any questions?
No?
Pretty much,
I always ask why we do this.
yeah, I know.
And the answer is always, well, that's not what we've always done.
Good of our,
I-
good of our hearts.
I understand we're not the only municipality that does something like this, but I just always like to draw on the question. you know,
We're trying to show
What's the
that-
logic behind it?
Right.
And if there's some good logic, okay. But we'll just leave it at
I
that.
mean, that is one of those things where I couldn't give you the logic. It is one of those things that the city has traditionally done. It doesn't,
I think it can help a little bit. I think just from a logic standpoint, Christmas, the holidays, people are spent a lot of money. Maybe we kick it back, a little bit to help them restock the coffers before they gotta give it over to the old, city government.
yeah, I could look to see if it does ever cause an issue. I'm not aware of the extension causing us an issue, but there isn't a written policy as to why.
Why don't we just change it to that day then? If we're always gonna allow an extension,
Well, we have to.
Why don't we just change it
Because
to
we
that?
have to have some agenda items for early January meetings,
Well-
okay?
Christina, is there,
oh, busy work.
is the regular date a mandated date, or is that,
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the tax due date by statute, I think, is February 15th. And then I think this year falls on a weekend, so then it goes to the 17th. And there's a 2-week period that we collect them between the due date and when they would get turned over to the county treasurer. So we just, since we're here collecting them for the 2 weeks.
We give them an extra 2 weeks.
Yeah, we just waive the penalty.
Okay. That's logic.
yeah,
I like it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
That's the best, clearest explanation I think I've ever
what
received.
happens when you get a good treasurer?
Thank you.
Oh, are you pointing out our past treasurers weren't any good?
No, they're all wonderful. But me being in that stage.
Okay, any other questions, guys? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the deadline for payment of winter real and personal property taxes collected by the city will be extended from February 17th, 2026 to March 2nd, 2026.
Support?
Mr. Mararo?
Yes.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes?
Ms. Langless?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Item number 2, purchase of blighted property, 524 Mine Street. Mr. Stoltman.
So, over the last year or two, we've made a concerted effort to push blight enforcement at council's wish, and some of the blighted properties are physical homes that likely need to be razed, demolished. This was one of the properties identified in some complaints that it was inhabitable, it has holes in the roofs, the windows are broken, it's been unoccupied for several years, likely not repairable for occupation. We reached out to the homeowner several times. The individual finally got back to us and was interested in essentially selling us a property for $1, and then we would move forward at our will to incur the costs for removal. The other option, if council wants to continue to pursue these blight issues, is we do have our dangerous buildings ordinance. In that case, it's the procedure's a little lengthier. Of course, there's notice, there's verifying it's can't be repairable up to its appraised value or equalized value. You have to have a hearing and appoint someone to be the hearing officer. So some other steps, excuse me, and then it goes to council for final decision on requiring the building to be raised. And in that case, we would likely have to cover the cost for the removal regardless and lien the property. So in both cases, likely we would incur those costs, and it's a matter of how would we recoup those costs.
I think we're all in agreement, Ben, that when we can do it like this is the better, speedier, more cleaner, efficient way to do it. When we can get the owner to say, hey, I'll sell it to you for $1 and, you guys take it on. Because to Dan's point, we're still gonna end up, even if we go through the other way, we're gonna end up having to deal with what's there, the derelict building. So, yeah, I think this is a great job by by our council and by Dan to get it to this point.
So if council so chooses, I would direct our city attorney to work on the quitclaim deed to acquire the home, and then moving forward from there, we would look at the next budget cycle likely for the any remediation that may have to be done, and then the eventual removal. And then we'd market it and hopefully get a new home built and recoup our money through that.
Any
And
questions?
The current lot is large enough to be built according to
Yeah,
current
the
standards?
minimum width in that zone is 50 feet. The current width on that property is 50.
Okay.
So basically, the cost could be more if we didn't take the home? Is that what's,
Well, there's gonna be a lot more legal fees involved.
Right.
You know,
I'm
there's
just
gonna be
wondering
more
if-
hearings and more
Yeah.
different things.
I'm just wondering if it would be wise to just, put the 1,500 in to see if there was asbestos in there, to see whether it was worth it or not, you know what I mean? What's the cost? Like, is it gonna cost more one way, or is it gonna cost more the other way?
If we're going to, if we would like the building to be removed, whether we purchase it for $1 or go through the process, the step for hazardous material remediation would happen regardless. We would have to spend the money to inspect to see if it's there, and then if it is, we would have to spend the money to have it removed prior to tearing it down. That process wouldn't be any different whether
Correct.
we acquired it or we imposed it upon.
Yes, sir. What you're seeing here is everything after the $1 would have to take place anyways.
Right.
Okay, so what we're saying is that we get the owner to voluntarily sell it to us for $1 instead of us having to go through, basically repossessing the home, right, through tax liens.
Because the person has already had blight issues already and has not addressed them.
Correct.
So basically, there's no way of making this person do this themselves.
We could, and that would be going through that process, and likely they would not be able to
Afford it.
to tear it down, so then we would incur those costs and we would lien the property. So whenever that property would be sold or go to tax sale, we would attempt to get that money back. So likely in either scenario, we would be fronting those costs. If we own it, then we can kind of control it more. We can hopefully turn it on more quickly and hopefully get a house built and recoup that investment, if you will, through.
Would the town be looking into building a house on that?
No,
Or would it be,
no.
somebody would be buying
We
the
would,
property?
we would market it for sale for someone. to
So
build a
basically,
single
we're
family.
gonna lose money either way, because you're not gonna be able to sell that lot for that much.
No, you wouldn't sell the lot for that much. The lot would be sold relatively inexpensively. It's the tax dollars generated from a new home.
Right,
So
okay.
that's what would eventually
Okay.
cover those.
The utility connections and everything else that comes with it in the future.
Okay, thank
Not the situation we want to use every time. This is not precedence that we want to set necessarily,
No.
but I think in certain situations, it's worth, discussing and maybe, doing. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to direct the city attorney to take the appropriate steps to take possession of the home located at 524 Mine Street for $1 and direct staff to begin the process that leads to the removal of the structure.
Support.
Mrs. Steigerwald?
Yes?
Ms. Langless?
Nay.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Morano?
Yes. All right, moving on. To everybody's favorite agenda item. Curbside recycling grant. Mr. Stoltman.
Okay. So, a little history on that, I suppose. So the state did enact a law that requires that we offer curbside recycling to at least 90% of the residents. So the law, if you look at the memo, we fall under this most recent urban dwellings in urban areas as identified in the most recent census. So City of Norway, Iron Mountain, Kingsford, East Kingsford, and I think part of Loretto are in this urban area. And therefore, we fall under the offering 90% of our customers curbside recycling by the 1st of this year.
So then I'm just gonna interject and ask questions as we go. So the definition of the 5,000 plus residents is the urban area that was defined by the
No,
state of Michigan?
That's two different things.
Okay.
So the urban areas where we fall under, and that's January 1st, 2026. The 5,000 residents, that is a second section for residents, for cities with more than 5,000, they have to enact it by January 1st, 2028. So those are two separate requirements. Census areas that we're in, 90% by January 1st, 2026, and then municipalities with more than 5,000 residents are the January 1st, 2028.
Okay.
And then there's another one for counties have to, at a different time, and it's applying, I think, an area for recycling. So what we initially attempted to do with the city of Kingsford, we put out a joint RFP for recycling services because they're in a similar position as us where they do their own garbage, and the cost to do our own recycling may be cost prohibitive and we may have to purchase new equipment and therefore. So we did a joint RFP hoping to get the lowest rate. We had one bidder come back in GFL. They offered us a rate of, I think, $750 per month per customer for twice a month collection for single stream, all recyclables. The caveat there was it didn't make sense for them unless there's at least 1,000 customers at all times between the two municipalities. So we put it out there for a voluntary sign-up. Between the two cities, we did not reach the 1,000. I think we were under 200. So therefore, we don't believe we're complying with the state law because if the people who want it, we don't have a mechanism to offer it. So.
Question?
Yep.
What's the teeth in the law?
We don't know.
An expert came up to me before this meeting and basically said that right now, the research that they had done, there is no fines or penalties.
That's kind of what we're seeing. I would guess it would come into a form of maybe not being eligible for certain state funding grants. We don't know yet. So what Kingsford did on Monday night, their council approved the mandatory curbside recycling as well as to pursue a recycling grant through Eagle at the state. Iron Mountain, I believe, did the same, and then we're discussing this tonight. So the idea behind this is if the three communities do mandate it, then the three communities could go in on a RFP for service together to hopefully get the lowest rate, and also go in on the recycling grant together to try to purchase the recycling carts, in effect, hopefully lowering those late rates even more because the recycling company is not doesn't have to provide the carts for recycling.
So key point so far, $7.50 per month for 2 pickups.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, per household, okay? And number 2, I believe we talked a little bit about the carts themselves, but there's a deadline for the grant?
The recycling grant, I believe, is January 28th.
So thus we have the gun to our head, everyone. This would have warranted much more discussion, I feel, but right now we kind of have to decide the next few weeks how we want to do this because we would miss out on that grant if we decide to move forward, and that's an 85% grant on the carts and things we need for this recycling project. Go ahead.
How much are the carts aside per person?
We think.
Well, we got an estimate about 55 per cart. I estimated that would cost us around 70 or so thousand in total. With the grant, our matching cost would be around 15,000. The garbage fund, we do put money away each year for new equipment. That is likely where our match would come from for that. As Jeff said, the alternative is we can ignore it. We don't know the penalty. It may become nothing. They may change the law. The only downfalls we do is if they do have teeth, we've missed out on potentially joining the other communities to get the lowest rate. We don't know exactly the future of what the
No
the
magic
downside.
8-ball?
Not tonight, unfortunately. I tried. It's expensive. So that's where we are. Again, Kingsford, they approved theirs. So if council does decide to approve this, the three communities would get together and apply for that grant collectively and do the RFP collectively, again, in the attempt to get the lowest possible rate. The possible upside, and this is purely theoretical, if we do curbside and people do recycle, there is a possibility that the garbage weight will be reduced, which in fact would reduce our costs. So there's a possibility that we could reduce a little bit the garbage rates if we see in fact that happen. But that's pure theory at this point.
And the recycling center that we currently have would go away.
It doesn't have to. It just doesn't make financial sense for us to
Not
continue
with
the
it
cost
5
of that
miles
if we
away,
have to
no.
mandate
No, yeah.
recycling.
So would we wait for the grant to go through before we try to impose this upon people? Or would we impose it and then go for the grant?
There's kind of two separate things. I mean, the winning the grant or not winning the grant doesn't necessarily change our needing to comply with the law. So we would apply for the grant and and probably sort of around the same time, put the RFP out and try to ask for bids for with the company providing a cart and probably an alternate bid if they are not providing a cart there. So if we get the grant, we know what the cost is if we're providing carts and vice versa if we are or not.
Okay, so is there a way to go about that, get the grant, you know what I mean, or not get the grant, and then afterwards decide whether or not we're going to mandate that on the people? Instead of
See if we get
mandating
it.
it before knowing whether or not we have that or not, and what the cost is gonna be for each individual house. I mean, if you don't get the grant, the cost is gonna be exponential for not only the town, but also for the people themselves as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
the first rate we got was $750, and that was with them providing a cart.
So it was with them, providing the cart?
The GFL, yeah.
Without the
No,
grant?
with-
No additional cost.
They
to
were,
the
that
consumer.
was part of the rate.
They were gonna provide a cart, so that 70 grand goes away for us. We don't need the grant.
So, I mean, if we provide our own carts, we would hope that 750 rate would, be reduced by, I don't know, a couple dollars or so.
Yeah, I don't know that it'd be
But
that
it's
much.
worth, still trying to get the grant, it still will hopefully help and bring it
Exactly.
down. But that's what the three communities were looking to do.
So the motion is to approve the application for the grant and to release the new RFP asking for what the rate would be if the carts were provided or not?
Yeah, there's the motion, I would want a motion to allow us to pursue the grant, understanding that there is a 20% match and what that may be. And the second portion of that is, if we're going to put out the RFP with the other communities, we should at that point be on board with, mandating it. So to me, it makes sense you would authorize the grant and then authorize the mandating to comply with the law for curbside recycling collectively with the other communities to put out that RFP.
So I'm understanding this, without the grant, it's $750 a month per household,
That is what we originally quoted between us and us and Kingsford.
and the town provides the recycling bin.
The original bid we got from GFL was they are providing the bins. for
Okay.
Twice a month.
It's worst case.
But they only said they'd do it if
If
1,000
we
people
had-
signed up.
Right.
Correct.
We
Gotcha.
don't have 1,000 people.
Right.
So that offers out the window.
Yeah. Now, with three communities going together at a mandatory requirement, you would assume it would go down a little bit because of the economy of scale for them to do that. That is why we were discussing the 3 or 4 with East Kingsford going into it collectively.
Unfortunately for this kind of service, there's not a whole lot of players that can provide it. So, the 750 sounds more than fair right now to me. But I don't know how long that stays in place.
I'm sure there'll be, usually in those contracts, if it's a 5-year deal, you should know during that contract what the escalator is each year. Of course, you try to eliminate any fuel surcharges in there, because those are unknowns. I try to keep it straight to the rate, but it 100% will show a yearly increase.
What's the penalty to the public if they do not recycle? Any?
You mean the individual?
Yeah.
No, if individuals choose not to recycle,
They pay their $7.50 a month
they're gonna
and
pay
they're
their
done.
$7.50, they'll have their cart, and it's up to them if they want to utilize that or not.
So if this goes through, basically, they would still be providing the recycling bin to each individual household.
Every household will get a
And
bin.
everyone would have about $7.50
Yes.
on their bill,
Yep.
and that's pretty much what we're looking at, and it's twice a
But there's
a
no
month
penalty
they
not to
pick it up.
recycle.
I mean,
I
if
bet
you have a
except the
recycling bin, if
except
you
the
have a
7
recycling bin, why wouldn't you?
Except the
I mean,
$7.50 a month.
You're gonna pay for it anyway.
Correct.
Why would you not do that? That would be kind of silly, just very obstinate, but whatever, I mean, I guess everybody can do
Yeah,
that.
if we go down the road, we will have to work out logistics of, locations, and I'm not gonna say it's gonna be fun, but it's gonna be new and a challenge.
One other question from the public was kind of estimating if we do this RFP and we did move forward, about when would we start? I don't know how long the RFP process takes.
The process is, we essentially have it already, because we did it once, it's just gonna be slightly modified. You would put it out there for 3-4 weeks. It depends a little bit on how soon the grant process would get through, whether we receive it or not. It would be, I'd say, as quickly as possible. Since the deadline was January 1 of this year, which we attempted to do that, but we just did not get the
I feel like we're using this grant deadline kind of as a hammer. The only qualified bid we have is from a company that says they'll provide the bins. So why would we even be looking at buying 70 grand worth of bins? Just saying. If we're looking at a non-binding approval tonight to say, okay, look, in case we really need to do this, because there is some teeth somehow, maybe with grants or other things from the state, we want to get on an agreement, a contractual agreement with Iron Mountain and Kingsford, so that we can have this service at a rate that's affordable for our people. I totally agree with that, as long as it's non-binding tonight. This doesn't lock us in anything. And we can have more discussion, and we can get more facts and details before we finally decide if we're gonna, because let's face it, the public don't want it. The public doesn't want it. So I'm good with understanding what your economy of scale, big time, right? We want to make sure we don't end up having this triple in cost because we didn't play nice early on. That said, I don't want necessarily be locked into something based off our vote here tonight.
Yeah, I would defer a little bit to our attorney, but I would assume we put on an RFP, that isn't a binding contract, I don't believe, until it is signed by each party. But I am not an attorney.
Well, you're putting on a request.
Request for proposal, right? That's all you're asking.
If it's, depends on how it's phrased, depends how it's done.
Most bids you have the right to deny all.
Right.
So
One of the things I note is that this is the 28th, and I know we don't like to push things on the road without the mayor tonight, although we have a hell of
Yeah, thanks.
a mayor pro tem.
Yeah, I just play on the TV, so we'll wait for the real one. But
We have a little bit, and I don't like to ever kick the can, but it sounds like there's some questions that remain, and Dan might not like those comments, and trying to maybe kick it one more, because I look at this and it just feels like there's questions council has, questions about whether or not we qualify as a urban center or a urban area. I asked Mr. Stoltman that before, and he indicated, hey, that we do qualify, and that's why we're mandated to do this. I can't offer any insight into that.
And I don't know how, I can't find the map we got from QBED. I don't know how we were put into that. I don't know the parameters for the urban census area. But we do have, our next meeting is the 21st.
that's what I was thinking.
I do, just from listening to some of the citizens, council questions, et cetera, I looked into the same thing, right? Just in preparation for today, looked at the statute for the first, and said, well, let me take a peek at it. I had questions about it references the 5,000 population. I think Mr. Stoltman referenced it as well explained, the way he's been told from QPAD, who is our advisory group that we use for our municipalities, about the obligations we have, some of the requirements, the mandates, if you will, that put us in this position. And that's his understanding, and it makes sense. I still question a little bit, and maybe that's just both my job to question it and both just the way I'm at. I'd like to double check that whole urban area designation. It doesn't make sense to me. It seems a little bit odd that we're being mandated as a city of 2,840 people to mandate curbside recycling at costs. I mean, I think and that's where I think Mr. Stolman referenced, it's maps, it's the federal census, it's oftentimes well beyond common sense sometimes, or logic when you get the governments involved, especially higher ups, state, sometimes county, state. You
had to ask him a question.
Federal.
You had to ask him a question.
I know.
Thanks.
Let him answer it.
So-
I actually looked into what this urban area is, and it has to do with the census. It has designated an Iron Mountain area metropolitan area,
Yeah, we're a big
which
metro.
goes right along Highway 2 and includes Iron Mountain, Brighting, Norway, and Little Loretto. It's bubbles. It's not like one full line.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of bubbles that go across. And that's the urban area that, then in the law, that's what they're referring to.
Okay. I just want to clarify one thing. I am not the mayor, but I did stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night.
If you guys would like the 21st, for us to join the others after that meeting, I can't imagine that would be too difficult. It's just essentially adding our numbers
Right.
to the document.
Let's get,
If I inquire and it's an issue, we can always look and call a special meeting beforehand.
Right.
But it shouldn't take much for us to join the party after the 20th.
Yeah, and Grant, to your point, I was gonna actually think about kicking it until we have a full council. It is kind of one of those issues where it affects all the people in town, and it is a mandatory thing, and I think it's best for the full council to make those decisions.
Can you still apply for the grant? I mean, without
Yeah.
us passing this? I mean, can you just go ahead and try to apply for the grant
I'll just
anyway?
wait. I mean, like I said, the grant's due on the 28th. Our next meeting is the 21st.
It only gives you 7 days.
Yeah, and I'll talk to the other managers, but it shouldn't take much. I mean, they're gonna start looking at a plan. All we would need to really do is be added to it, and that would be just our numbers to get GFL to know what the cost would be adding.
If it becomes a problem, he will let us know, and if we have to have a special meeting, we can have that, sir.
Okay, and then also, just for everybody to know, right now, we still have the ability to get a bin from the company and then pay $7.50 a month for recycling now?
If we,
With 1,000 people.
1,000 people or more are mandated.
Okay, so
then-
what is the cost for people to do it now, aside from, like, if people want to do that now, you said 200 people signed up for it, right? So there's
But they
200
can't.
people?
They needed 1,000.
Yeah, GFL won't service unless they have at least 1,000 customers.
So no one is getting this done at this
Correct.
point because no one has been able to, you haven't reached the number?
Between us and Kingsford and Iron Mountain at this point.
Okay.
no.
They're saying it's not worth their time.
Yeah.
If there's only 14 people that are.
Right, I'm getting it, okay, all right. So do we need a motion to table this?
It's on the agenda, so I'm gonna motion for
However Grant wants to,
we know how to do this. So it's on the agenda, we have to motion, so I'm gonna ask for a motion, if anybody wants to vote yea or nay on this.
My recommendation would be to table it if we want to see it again.
Yep.
I'd like to
Yep.
table it.
Yeah, table.
To
Okay.
that next meeting.
So with no motion, we will table it until next meeting.
Grant, do you need a motion on the table?
I think it's cleaner, just do a motion to table it for one.
I'll make a motion to table the approval of the Eagle Recycling Infrastructure Grant and the release of the RFP until the next board meeting, council meeting.
Support.
Mr. Moraro?
Yes.
Ms. Steigerwald?
Yes?
Ms. Langless?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Moving on, discussion items. Item 4, fuel storage tanks. Dan?
So this is coming from Scott Hagee in our electric department. We kind of spoke briefly to council about this topic. What we're suggesting here is almost like an emergency management fix when it comes to fuel. Currently, our fleet fuels at the local gas stations. And what happens occasionally when there's outages or any sort of issue, we may not be able to get fuel for our fleets. So what we're looking at is possibly being our own fuel station. So getting 2 tanks, one for gasoline, one for diesel. Each vehicle would have a number, so it would be sort of operated as a gas station. So if a DPW vehicle went there, that fee for the cost of fuel would go to the DPW. And bulk fuel pricing per gallon, you would hope that this would be more cost effective. And the biggest thing for us would be, especially for the electric, is if there was a major power outage, and again, we are able to supply 95% of power, but we still rely on a main transmission line from other places. If that main transmission line goes down, we are at their mercy. So possibly render fuel not possible to pump. So that was a big part of this proposal. The quote he's got so far was the fuel tanks installed was $22,000. We would have to do some upgrades on the gate to make that a little more automated for the vehicles to come and go throughout the days. So he has a total around $30,000. It was brought to my attention about a concrete pad that may not have been quoted in this, so there's an extra cost potentially in that. And Scott does apologize. He wishes he could be here tonight, but he is in Kuwait for training.
Size of the tanks, 1,000 gallons?
Yeah, nice excuse.
1,000 apiece?
1,000 apiece. I think it's a good project to do some more research on. I think it could be very beneficial to us in those rare but possible events. And if we can do a cost analysis of what bulk would cost.
You're not gonna I wouldn't get too excited, because
That's not real.
guys taking 10,000 gallons
Yeah.
at a crack, or you got 10% markup, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the real, seller for it. It's
Yeah.
the, an emergency situation. Of course, Scott, being Scott, he wants to move now.
Well, that's because he's a military boy,
Yeah.
that's why.
Yep.
I was gonna say, this does sound like a Kuwait-like operation
Right.
going on here.
Right. So I think it's a good idea. Of course, it wasn't budgeted. There's money in his budget, but I think this is better suited for more development. We have the budget workshops coming,
Yeah.
starting soon. July 1 is our new cycle. I think that is a good project that we develop here over the next 7 months.
And you can still get it done next summer,
Yes.
you know what I mean, before winter flies, so, yeah, I agree, I think it's, I'd like to see it in a budget and a little more,
Yep.
less off the cuff and a little more detail.
I would agree.
Yep.
So at this time, I wouldn't need, I don't
No,
feel like I need a
right,
motion.
right. Okay, any questions on that, guys? Comments? Item 5, museum addition request, Mark Sertich?
So Mark is here, and I'll just speak briefly on
Director.
what I do know about this. And Mark, you feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm understanding, what Mark is here is they would like to do either an addition or perhaps a whole new structure at the museum.
Addition.
An addition.
20 by 50.
Right. So there's a couple components from our standpoint. One, of course, any sort of addition to a city facility, they would need the city council's permission. I don't see an issue with exploring that and moving down that path if feasible. The one pause I had was the grant. So to Mark's credit, he wants a grant to help pay for this project. And when I look through it, it appears as it's either a 15% match or a 30% match, depending on how much he's asking for, how much is awarded. My concern with the grant at this point is the time frame. We're looking at January 15th, so a week from tomorrow.
I just learned today, looking at their internet site, it's actually January 22nd.
Okay, so January 22nd.
So yeah, time is short.
Kind of short, but my concern for a grant that requires a match is that Mark doesn't have the official approval from his board, correct me if I'm wrong, for those funds for that match. And I get a little concerned about going for a grant when there's required matching funds, because if he gets it and his board decides not to, now you're returning a grant, and it's just not good practice, being applied kind of under the city. So while I'm in favor of exploring, I think for expanding the museum, the grant part of it at this point concerns me without your board's approval, because it could put the city in a spot where maybe we need to fund that. And that's just my overall concern with that portion of it. So,
Yeah, Mark, I'm kind of a bit surprised you're here with a board approval at this point. The grants, the way they work, I understand what you're saying, but this thing ain't even half baked right now, right? I think you take this year and bake it,
Well-
and you're back here next year with a deadline of January 21st, looking
Well,
to,
there is no next year. It's, this grant through the state of Michigan is a one-time thing to commemorate the 250-year of the
yeah, it's
United
of the
States.
United
America
States
250.
as a country. It's a one-time thing, January 22nd, it's done.
why don't they give us more time?
They have. Okay, it was a two-part grant. It actually started a year ago. Tier 1 was a year ago, level 1, and level 2 was now.
So we're playing catch-up.
So I actually did apply for it this past summer, and the IRS reared its ugly head and said, you don't have the right tax number and you don't qualify. So it took months to get that figured out. And I've been working with Christina now, with the treasurer before that, and we're gonna send in, application now a second time. So this has been going on for,
But you don't have you don't have your board's approval to do this project.
the directive I have is to explore the funding possibilities, and if we can get this grant, it would be more favorable to the board. But we would, honestly, there's a local, the Brackett Foundation, whom I have worked with in the past about this, and they would be favorable to a grant through them also if it looked like this was going forward. But they won't just front us money without an assurance that this is gonna happen. So I guess what I'm here for today is just to ask permission from the city council to explore funding and explore a local contractor, which I have on board now as general contractor, and to get a construction timeline in place.
So your contractor, you approach the contractor and for kind of budgetary purposes?
Correct.
Correct. Do you have to bid this out, wouldn't you?
Yes, it should be a project of that size. I believe the estimate was 160.
C3 something.
160.
Yeah, you-
163 now.
Yeah, we can't lock in you don't understand, we cannot lock in on a contractor, right? This has to go out for bid, it's public funds.
Yeah,
So-
well,
It's a weird, the funds are, most is donation funds, which gets a little complicated.
You're asking nothing from the city as far as funding goes?
no, not at this time, but I want to leave it open to the
That'll
possibility.
change the whole process then at that point.
Where I see the city is, the grant, to be applied for the grant, you would have to apply, basically, the city would be applying for the grant on their behalf. And that's where I get concerned, because it's us applying on their behalf with basically saying, we're willing to do a 20 or a 30% match, where we don't know if their board has authorized that money for the match.
And then
if
when
we
that
get
grant comes
it,
in,
the
if you
city's
can't
gonna
get,
reject
if
it.
you can't get approval, then it's either us to match it.
If he had a tier 1, you already applied for a grant prior and were denied that, correct? But didn't need this, you didn't need the city to,
Meet the requirements.
so the city did not apply for that grant, you guys did?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys don't need the city to apply for this grant either?
Well,
They
it's
do.
the same grant, it's the same money, there was just two sessions, so to speak. First session and the second session. And it's a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Sir, who does the work and whose name is on the grant are two different things. So they may have done the work, but officially the city is applying for that grant. the
Gotcha,
state.
so even the one that he already applied
Correct.
for, the city applied?
Same thing.
So,
Yes, it was the
okay.
same grant, they were essentially
It was a
denied
it was
because
a
they aren't
technicality.
eligible.
They had some
What's
problems
that?
with.
You guys weren't eligible as an individual entity for that grant.
Well, that's the thing, I've been director for like 3 years now, and the being owned by the city rears its ugly head sometimes and makes things more complicated. And I'm all for being owned by the city, but just like the IRS didn't agree with our numbers. So I had to go back and try to get that figured out. What I'm here for today, though, is just to ask your permission to explore funding and a local contractor, that's all.
But you're asking permission under the city's name to submit a grant, correct?
Yes.
And this is a matching grant, as I understand it?
It's a reimbursement.
A reimbursement, but you still have to, the grant people are going to want to know, how are you going to come up with the rest of the funding? Is the funding available and set aside for this capital project?
You're asking me that question?
Yes.
Not without additional money. There's money in the museum budget. What do I say?
approved yet by the board?
No, there,
Okay.
So-
I think we're way over our skis on this right now. You don't have board approval.
yeah,
I know this grant thing is important, I understand, so I know why you're here. So please, this is with all due respect.
Sure.
But I just don't know that, you know, anybody's right for this at this point, even though I know we're looking at a deadline here in, you know, 15 days, because there's just so many moving parts right now that you don't have covered, you know?
Right.
Your board being the biggest fault. If you had board approval and you guys were all in on this thing, that's a whole different animal, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Dan's
Yeah.
telling you right now. But if we
Yeah.
go as a city and say, hey, we want this money, we're really gonna do something with this money, and that money comes through and you can't get approval,
Yeah.
and we gotta say, sorry, here's your money back, that could follow us a long time with the state for other grants.
I see.
See what
Yeah.
we're saying? That's what Dan's trying to say, correct, Dan?
Correct.
Yeah, so that's why we're pushing back on this right now.
Yeah,
You know?
I
You guys
understand.
agree?
Yep. So can you try for the tier 3?
Pardon me?
Can you try for the tier 3 and maybe have it more organized when it comes to that? You said there was 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, tier 3 is the $50,000 grant we're applying for.
Oh, okay,
Tier 2 is
so,
less and tier 1 is less.
okay, so 1 and 2 has already passed by, this is the last one?
No,
Okay,
it's
This is the last,
within
is
the
this-
grant process,
23%.
there's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 that you can apply for.
okay,
The first round, the state gave out a little less than $1 million in grants. The IXL Museum in Hermansville got $50,000, a grant. Now, I'm sure you're all aware, you don't just get a check for $50,000. It's a reimbursement. You do one part, you know, it goes like that, so they're still in the process, but they've been awarded that grant. Their total project was $65,000, so the grant takes up most of that. So.
okay,
So what you're
there-
saying at this time is, I shouldn't even bother applying for the grant right now. Just let it
Well,
go.
I just think the cart's before the horse, I think is what we're saying, right? You don't have board approval, so you're,
Right.
you know, without board approval, what are we talking? That's your board, not our board,
Yeah,
you know?
I get it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, I think it's just a little premature to be doing some of the stuff that's out.
We don't want to get caught on the line. Okay, we don't want to get caught holding
Yeah.
the bag
Right.
if things don't go, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, the city approved it, so the board says, well, we don't need to cough up any money then, or yeah. Get that 30% or whatever it is that is required.
Get your folks.
Get
on
that
board.
money in.
You know, get your folks on board, and then we can start talking about, you know, how we proceed.
Yeah, we also need to protect the city's name when it comes to the grants. We rely on grants for a lot lot of money,
Yeah, sure.
so.
That's part of
Okay.
the whole curbside
But we
recycling.
appreciate everything you're doing, Mark, and we appreciate your, you know, your passion, you know, for the museum, it's great, so.
Yeah.
You just come back to us when you're ready, and we'll talk again.
The idea, I think, is, you know, what they want to do is
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Good thing.
I'd love to see what the plans with all that extra space. I mean, do we have a bunch of stuff in storage that we want to get in there?
Well, when the present building was built in 2003,
Yeah.
we had around 4,000 artifacts. Okay, we've got almost 17,000 right now.
Wow.
So you need more
Okay,
room.
that we can't display because we don't have the room. Second part of it is we've got a vault with archives in it that is like that closet that you open up and throw something in and shut the door because it's so overwhelmed. So those two things, that's why
Well,
we're,
that's great. It's good to hear that there's that much issue there,
Yeah.
and then we need to do something.
yeah.
Work on your board, my friend, you know? Who's our?
Sarah's our new.
I just got voted, yep, just
When's
got
the next
voted on
meeting?
that.
Next Thursday.
Next
Is it the
Thursday?
third
Sarah-
Thursday or second Thursday?
No, it's next week.
So it's the second
15th.
Thursday of each month?
The 15th. We only have one meeting a month.
Right, so second Thursday of each month.
That's the third, the 15th.
Yeah, because of the first.
Yes, sir, I think you're great. You know, if you talk to Mark and the board. about
Yeah, if you
stuff,
wanna stick around, I can,
Let us know
yeah,
where
yeah.
we're at.
So Sarah's is Brett Kramer's replacement for
Yeah.
ours.
Correct. Yeah, I know. Okay, well then I guess there's no reason for you to even act at this point then.
Really, pretty hard for us to mark at this
Yep.
point, yeah. But like I said,
understand.
we're here for you. Hopefully, board meeting goes well next week, and you get some more direction. If you guys can get together and get some direction.
Yeah.
Going, you know.
Okay,
All right.
yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
bud.
Thank you.
Mark.
Mayor, council comments. Sarah?
I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and New Year, and, looking forward to another year. Not liking the snow, but that's all.
Ricky?
I like the snow, I like to ski. Happy New Year, everybody.
Rico?
Nothing.
Good to go. Yeah, just, welcome to 2026, everybody. Hope you all had a great holiday season. And, yeah, that's about it. Too much snow already for me, but sorry, Ricky.
agreed.
And skills and snowmobiles. Dan? Trish, you got one?
I got happy birthday,
Oh,
Dan.
thank you.
I thought I know how to bake the cake. You got anything, Dan?
Give them a steak.
I'll just say it has been a snowy start to the winter season. It looks like more snow this weekend. You know, our crews are out there working late, overtime, doing the best they can to get that stuff cleared, to try to get that slush off when they can. So, you know, everyone just, if it continues on, you know, bear with us as we do the best we can to get this off as quickly as we can.
Thanks, Dan. Mr. Nothing, thank you. Sorry. Christina, anything tonight? No. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for coming.